And welcome back. And we have just concluded cooking with Sean Quillen using the chocolate stout. Did you learn a few things to put in practice on Sunday?
I learned that when you're cooking with Sean Quillen, the excitement and the taste are explosions.
Okay.
That's what you learned.
Well, I hope you learned to mimic something similar for Mother's Day, because that is a part of our theme that we are trying to bring out this week. And continuing in that theme, we have the lovely Jenny Lovell with us. Hello. She is, of course, a mental health professional. And today in Bruk It Down with Jenny, we're tackling a tough one.
Tough.
So Mother's Day, people like myself and many others think of all the benefits and joys and gratitude that we have for the mothers in our lives. But not everybody is in that situation. Some people have very strained relationships with their mothers for many different reasons. And we're going to be talking about that today, right?
Yes, we are. Good morning, Belize.
So, Jenny,
Yes, ma'am.
obviously, well, I would imagine in your practice that you would encounter this type of issue every now and again. What can you say about what leads to people having a challenging relationship with their mother?
Well, I tell you, in Belize, and I've said this over a lot of shows, we tend to have relationships that are enmeshed in a lot of cases. And what does that mean? It means that we have, like, mothers in particular who are so attached to their children and they don't want to let go. And in some cases, the children are so attached to the mother. And so later on, when they get into other relationships, it's very, very difficult because mom is so much a part of that.
Yeah.
Mom wants to tell her how to raise the children. And it causes a lot of...
Wants to cause problems with his wife.
Yes. And now, the other thing, by the way, I talk about today, daughters and their moms.
Okay.
Because generally, mothers get along so well with their sons. Tell me I'm lying.
Yes.
You have to say that. You have to say that because your mom's watching, right?
I know she is, but
No, we love our boys.
Yeah.
We love our boys. But our girls, it's not that we don't love our girls, you know. It's just that because they're girls, we tend to want to...
The dynamic is different.
It's different. It's totally different.
Yeah.
can I ask though, is it that relationships are reflective, so that the absence of healthy relationship with males for the mother, a lot of mothers out there are single parents, and men have to accept that some of us have not been the best in relationships with females, that the reason why male children are loved so much is because it's a drawback, a benefit from, I lost your father, who I loved dearly. And so you look like him, you're part of me and him. And so that is the reason why I tend to give you a little bit more leeway than I would give a daughter. Is that true?
I'm not sure what it is. I really don't know what it is. But I know, like, I have a son. I don't have a little girl, but I adore my son.
Yeah.
I do. And the relationship is just so different. We tend to have conflict with the girls.
But isn't it theoretically that a daughter is closer to their father and a son is closer to their mother?
Freud said it.
About how we...
I have two daughters.
Yeah, but it's something about how we just the development that we have, right?
Freud said it.
Okay,
you know,
yeah.
Freud said that the little girls, they need that father figure, and we're little princesses to our dads.
Yeah.
Right? Freud said, well, you know, that little girls fall in love with their dads.
Yeah, there's
I mean, it's just a crazy
We
stuff.
hope so.
Yeah. But little boys adore their moms, and moms adore their little boys, and it starts very early, and it's something that we would like to nurture, that she gets along with both kids.
Okay.
And not later on, you know, have problems.
So I want to fast track because
I have a lot of stuff on here.
adult-parent relationships in general can be difficult.
Can be very difficult.
I'm not a parent, and I can imagine that it may be a part of no longer having a child that you're directly responsible of, and somewhere having to put the off button or the pause or the delay, that is hard. So I can imagine if you have a strained relationship with your mother and enter into adulthood and it continues. Tell us, what do we need to know and understand about this topic?
You know, just let me throw that at you. They grow, if we don't learn how to get along with mom, we take that into other relationships. And actually what happens is we have relationships that are not very healthy with our spouses, with our loved ones, or significant other. So we have to resolve those conflicts with mom, even as an adult, if that's what it takes, so that we can then go on and have our lives that are going to be fulfilling. We have to resolve those conflicts.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, mom has to learn about letting go. Because I'll tell you, it's really, really difficult. Mom wants to hang on onto her girl child. The boys, she will let the boys go, right? Because she knows that boy will come back and he'll always be around. But the girls, she wants to direct the girls right up until they're adults. And it creates conflict. It really does.
So let's talk about the different types of relationships between mothers and daughters, the typical examples, right?
So we have all kinds of mother-daughter relationships. Some are best friends. When they grow up, they go shopping together, they go do all kinds of things together. And by the way, I really recommend that mothers do that with their daughters. Some talk once a week, some talk maybe
every day.
Every day.
My mom and my sisters, every day.
Every day, yeah. Some see each other weekly or see each other every day. Some live in other countries. They're separated by countries, but on the phone every day talking to each other.
My mother-in-law and my wife are like that every day.
Yeah.
She's in New York, she out here.
But some parents, some mothers and daughters, they argue regularly. They spar, they have conflict every day. Some avoid conflict. They don't talk, they're the stuffers. Right. Or some talk through everything. So I mean, there's all kinds. I didn't put them all. I just gave a sample. But I mean, there's all types of relationships. That,
or even a mixture.
Yep. Next.
So
Marlene,
primary complaints.
You know, I can't sit here and not at least put in the plug of saying that, you know, that we're focusing on women.
Yes,
here,
we are.
So the dudes out there that are thinking.
No, but that's what she was talking about,
because
that's what she was talking about. Normally you see challenges between daughters and mothers, not so much mothers and sons.
Not really. There are some conflicts there, but mom will always make it right with her sons. I have 2 brothers, trust me, I know.
Yeah.
She loves her boys, girl, I'll tell you. Daughters talk about moms and they say moms try to parent them even as adults, right? Overly critical. These are the 3 complaints, the major complaints. Mom is overly critical. She criticizes everything from the way I dress to the way I select a husband.
And parent.
Or they are demanding. They demand your time and they want you to be there and come spend time with them. Or they're demanding about all kinds of things. And those are the primary complaints from daughters.
From the daughters.
From the daughters.
And from the mothers?
From the mothers, the mothers
are those
say.
things bad? Should my mother stop parenting me because I am 30?
You want her to parent you at 30?
Of course. Getting advice from my mother. My mother being able to sit. Well, probably I'm speaking from the standpoint of being a male. But getting my mother's advice and direction is something I cherish more than anything else. When my mother tells me, listen, I think X, Y, Z, I listen. I hear her. Because she has seen things that I have not seen.
Right.
She has a view of life, an appreciation of life, and she has my best interest at heart. So if she plays me till I'm 90, and she's, you know, I'll take it.
I think it's a different view on parenting because I can listen to advice, but I also don't want to be told what to do like I'm a teenager.
Wow, okay. Interesting.
But again, it's the way how moms talk to their boys.
Yeah.
It's different from the way they speak to the girls.
Yeah.
And mom will say to you that this is what I think, and she'll share like that, but she'll tell us, you're not bringing up your child right, you need to beat on some more. And that's why your child's so spoiled. This is why it is. And that's it's
a different dynamic.
It's a different dynamic. It's hard to explain to Yeah, but that's really, it's a different, you have sisters?
Yes, we have. My mother has equal boys and girls.
Okay.
And even in my extended family, with my other brothers and sisters, we equally paired up. Equal numbers.
Okay.
So
So mom's perspective is that daughters don't listen to them. The boys do, but daughters don't listen to them.
Boys do something.
And they make poor choices. They choose these men that are not good for them. And they have no time for me. They're so busy being out there working and doing all these things, and they have no time for me. And I brought them into this world. I spent all this time with them, and I deserve.
And this is a dynamic that is different too. You know, I'm sure if you reflect, the mothers you know are more demanding of the daughter's time than the son's time. There's almost a empathy towards men. Oh, they work so hard. They're providing for their family. Why isn't my daughter here to do everything else? Agreed.
Why is that wrong? I'm trying to figure out why that is wrong.
Why is
We're
it
not
right?
saying it's wrong. It's just that it's very, very
It's
different. Yes, exactly.
It's because I identify, when, I don't want to say locker room talk, but there's a different dynamic. If I have a son, I'm going to take my son in different places. I'm going to spend different time with my son. As opposed to, if I were a female, I would do different things. And it's not a sexist thing.
No,
it's just...
Really?
It's just a
Different
reality.
treatment for different sexes.
You're not going to take your mom. You're not going to take your mom, Marlene. You're not going to take your mom to watch the boxing match. That's
My mother loves boxing.
Yeah.
See?
So do I.
You see, but that example.
Moving on.
No, but see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
We tend to want to socialize the boys differently from girls, and
yeah.
we still do it.
Yeah.
We socialize them differently. You know?
Can I ask one other thing too?
Yeah.
My grandmother had a bunch of children, and she always said that I wish I had a daughter because she had all the children that survived, because she had multiple sets of triplets and twins who didn't survive. But she always said, I wish I had a daughter, because when I get old, as she's 104 now, that she felt as though a daughter would have spent more time with her than her male children, which has not panned out, because my uncle and my dad are almost fit that role. But is it so that female children stay with their mothers longer and are more connected to them than their male children?
I think we're guilted into doing more.
Well, that sound bad.
No.
It's a caretaker role. It's a traditional caretaker role that is expected of women. And I think if we reflect on what it used to be in the past, where I think girls were prized because they would take care of their parents until, versus a man's role was they would never have that responsibility. Especially if you're talking about your grandparents, that really is a different generation. Okay. Today is different. Yeah. But today, do you expect that your daughter will have to care for you till the end?
I hope so.
No, but do you expect it?
I expect it as well, because there's a bit of sexism here, which I will admit.
Whoa.
I almost,
Make sure you
I
take
feel
that.
like jumping for joy.
This hurts.
Can we get a replay of
This
that
hurts.
statement here?
This hurts, man.
So you were saying that you're what?
This hurts.
Huh?
This hurts.
You were saying?
A little bit of sexism, a little bit. This hurts, but...
I'm fine if you name it. Go ahead.
The truth is that women are more powerful and more influential. And so I'll tell you my own tangentially sexual... you see, you got me on another tangent here.
I'm really wondering if we should just move past this minute.
And it's the chocolate stout speaking a little. But the tangentially sexist view is that women have a little bit more control of their family. So if I have daughters and I have a son, which I don't, and my daughter tells her husband, listen, my paddy can eat, and that is what was going to happen, that view tends to dominate. But if I have a son and he tells his wife, listen, my paddy can eat, it doesn't have the same effect, because women tend to win at the end of the day. That is just Belizean culture in my view, that women tend to have a little bit more control of their family unit. So as much as we are saying that that there's this expectation to be cared for, it's because women have, and I think it's a good thing, because women are, to my mind, smarter than males, by far.
Ooh. We have
That
to tape this, right?
This is all live on TV. I'm leaving him to do it on his own. But to be clear, and I think one of the things that we have to be very clear about is that our realities are not the realities of the masses. And so sometimes where some may live in a more liberal home, some people live in a very traditional home, and some are a mix of both, the generation challenges that may be taking place. So you may want to have your girls take care of you till the day you die, and some people are raising their children thinking, I need to be able to take care of myself so that my child can focus on their own life without additional responsibilities. So it goes multiple ways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Where
can we move to the improving communication?
So I wanted to talk about some ways of improving communication between mothers and daughters. Well, children and parents, really and truly. Yeah. If you're having a conflict, because it's important, communication basically opens up connectivity, so that there's better relationship between the children and the parent. Make the first move. If there is a conflict, make the first move. You know, they said nothing promised to us. We don't know when we'll die or when our parent is going to die. Anything can happen at any given time. We should, the child. Yeah. If it's to be, it starts with me. I can't wait around, because let me tell you something. Parents feel they have this expectation that the children, if you do wrong, you're supposed to apologize. And this is how, yeah. Even if you're wrong, you're supposed to come in and let's talk about it, but apologize for being rude to me or whatever, right? Make the first move. I mean, what do you lose? What do you lose by making the first move?
Yeah.
Shouldn't the more mature person make the first move? And you would think that the parent is the more mature person, so to initiate the conversation.
But parents don't necessarily have a habit of apologizing to their children.
children.
But starting conversation, I can go back and say, Mom, you know what, yesterday, you know, you told me that, you know, certain things, and it was hard for me. And then the bigger person, who should be the parent, should.
But that's you starting the conversation. Mom, you hurt me.
You're good, Jenny. You're good, Jenny. You're good.
Go ahead. So,
number 2, change begins with me. Change yourself. You know, you don't have to react to what people say or what your parent does. You don't really have to react. You can choose your battles. You can choose to not react. The thing is just because they throw a barb out there, we don't have to react to it. We have to take it.
Yeah.
All right?
Can I use an example? I once saw a TED Talk. I love watching TED Talks with a communication specialist. And she spoke of oftentimes wanting to take on different approaches in communicating with people. And she cited the example of her mother who, as she aged, habit of exaggeration. So we're 20 people who were at a party. She said, oh, it was 100. Or the entire family was there but you, to make a point. And she would always challenge because she wanted to correct. And she said the moment she changed was when her brother tapped her once and said, what's more important, being right or a relationship with your mother?
Exactly.
And I thought, whoa, you know, because sometimes you really do, as an adult, want to make things clear with parents. Yeah. And it really does cause a conflict because they're not always accustomed to a child or their child as they see being upstart, challenging them. And
they forever see us as children, you know. They forever
I come to believe that.
us as children.
Yes.
The thing is that, you know, it's like a dance.
Yeah.
If you change the dance, inevitably they're going to match what you're doing. Yeah. Seriously. Change begins with me. If I want somebody, I can't change you. I can't change my parent. But I can change how I react to you. And when I change how I react to you, it changes the ballgame.
Can I ask this, though? You say choose your battles.
Yeah.
But what if you identify something? Because, okay, let me put this in as well. They say once a man, twice a child, that there's a curve that you go through. And when you become like my age, you're about 40, midlife, that you're identifying certain things in your parents and you're seeing where it is not the best for them. A simple thing, probably exercise. You see them, you know, for example, my dad is a village child, and he is one of the most pure and honest people I know. But he doesn't believe in all of these things, you know, exercising, and I mean, that's for people, it's a finesse thing. But I see where it's going to be a health issue for him in a while down the road. How do I choose to start that conversation? And that is a battle I have to. I can't not choose to go through that battle. How do I engage to choose, which I know is a contentious issue?
Well, if it's a contentious issue, you don't want to go to him and tell him how good exercise is for him and make it sound as if it's a challenge. What you might do is when you're going out, maybe taking the kids, you say, Dad, come on, let's go. You want to come walk with us? Make it an invitation.
That won't work now because you already said it, so I can't.
I'm just saying, make it an invitation rather than a challenge.
Awesome.
Because especially with men, if you challenge them, you're going to get resistance. Well, it happens with us too. You challenge me, I'm going to resist. If you
As adults, as
too?
children and parent relationships, and that's why I like this, having realistic expectations. Like, we're not going to change a parent.
No, we're not. The thing is that, you know, if you're expecting your parent to be nurturing and loving and present forever, you know, even as a grown-up, it's not going to happen because they have their lives too. They're going to be nurturing, but they may not be nurturing all the time. Are they going to have bad moods? Yeah, right? So let's have some realistic expectations of our parents, really and truly.
So you're somehow going to change the behavior that is causing the strain on the relationship.
It's not going to happen. Have realistic expectations.
So if I have a strained relationship with my mother, you know, she criticized my parenting style, how good of a wife I am, you know, I know she loves me, but I just cannot have a conversation with her, take my kids around because I feel like an 8-year-old all the time, right? And I want to fix that. And this is realistic. We know people who are in this situation. So the move to total avoidance, maybe even had terrible fallouts that they don't even talk anymore.
Yeah.
And I want to fix it. What kind of realistic expectations, what should I, and what kind of realistic expectations can I have about changing that? I do not want to be told I'm a bad parent. I'm trying to figure it out just like she did as well.
You know, if you could look at where she's coming from, if you think about the age and the time when they were coming up. One, they learn from their parents, and we don't know what kind of parenting their parents had.
Okay.
So you have to look at that. You also have to look at the time where they were growing up and what, because you always hear people tell you things like, well, I used to get beatings, and I used to get really bad beatings, and look how I... That they grew up in an era that's different from ours. So, you know, I'll be talking about this later on in empathy.
Okay.
But what I was going to say, you know, if you want your parent, try to put it in a, to hear you, try to put it in a positive, rather than saying, stop treating me like a child. Said, Mom, you're not treating me like an adult. So turn it around. Okay, we call it reframing.
Okay.
Turn it around into something, make it a positive statement so that she hears that. People tend to hear the positive more than the negative. Don't treat me like a child. Stop treating me like a child. Mom, you're not treating me like an adult. You brought me up. You brought me up to become an adult.
Yeah.
Help me.
Yeah.
Reframe it.
Okay.
Reframe it. Communicate. 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 People can't read minds. You know, and a lot of us, especially here at home here, we tend to stuff things. We walk away. We're not going to say what's bothering us. So how am I supposed to ever correct the problem if you won't talk to me?
What do you mean it? You should know me and know that I am hurt or angry or upset by what you said.
You should be able to read my mind or read my feelings.
Doesn't happen.
And you should know that I love you because of all the things I've done for you. Look at all the things I've done for you. But I don't know what's going on right now. I cannot read your mind.
And that's why we don't assume.
Okay. Yeah. Yep. Be an active listener. right? Active listening means that I actually speak. So I want to listen to what's being said between mom and I want to hear what her feelings are. I want to see what her body language is while we're having a conversation. Be an active listener. Rephrase what she's saying back to her. In my own words, just put it back to her. Mom, are you saying this? And let her then correct me. Because sometimes, because I already expect her to be thinking and behaving in a certain way, I may assume or I may think something that's not happening. So if I throw it at her in a different way, paraphrase it and put it back to her, I then hear what she's actually saying to me.
As speaking as a child of a parent, you know, a lot of times you grow up and you develop this defensiveness. You know, your parents tell you something and you take that into adulthood, and so that it continues in the relationship afterwards. And the other thing is that subliminally you revel in the time when you start to be right. And how does that factor into the whole thing of, you know, be an active listener? Because you're thinking, I've had experiences where you are wrong in that. Parenting, for example, I've read 50 papers which says that spanking isn't good. So your old view is not right. How do I actively listen when I fundamentally disagree and I genuinely want to be my own person, to be right?
The thing is how important is the relationship? Is it important to be right, or is it important to have a good relationship? If it's important to have a relationship, then I will listen and hear what the parent is. Because a lot of times the messages are behind all of what they're saying, you know. There's the message behind that, and if you stop and listen, you'll hear it. But if you come in there with your blinders on because you are right and you know you're right, you're not going to hear that. So important. What's more important, the relationship or being right?
Okay.
Wow.
Repair damage quickly. Don't avoid conflict. Don't avoid conflict. See, that's the thing. If you have a fight, you have you walk out because you storm out because you're. Repair it. Go back and repair it. You take the initiative. You're the child. And I know children who will say, well, my parent me wrong, so I'm not going back. Again, I come back. What's more important, the relationship or being right?
Nice.
All right.
Ways of improving, again, put yourself in her shoes. Empathy. Means I try to understand where she's coming from or where you're.
Not agree, but understand.
Understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, if you have your phone and you take a picture, you just get a snapshot of what's right here. If you use one of his cameras, he has one of these lenses that you widen. And that's what empathy is. It gives you the opportunity to widen your view.
Yeah.
So if you put yourself in her shoes, then you can listen, you can hear what she's saying and try to understand where she's coming from.
Yeah.
Does this include like understanding the era that she's from and research her family history? Because
Yes.
I mean, like,
Yes.
Or ask questions about her parents.
Yes.
yeah.
Have the dialogue.
Yeah.
Have the dialogue.
Yeah.
But it really is incumbent on us, the children,
Yeah.
to make that relationship work.
Forgiveness.
This is so important. Forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness isn't for your mom, it's for me. It's so that I don't walk around with this stuff inside of me, this angst and being angry and walking around all stressed out, having stomach aches because I'm so mad, I'm all stressed, right? And what happens? You start having stomach aches, you get ulcers, you get all kinds of things. You forgive the person and let it go. People say, oh, I forgive, but I want. You didn't forgive. You know, if you forgive, you exonerate, let the person go, and you can move on. You're not getting ill anymore. I'm serious. Forgiveness is not for the other person. It's really and truly for yourself.
Yeah. And then when you have forgiven, you agree to disagree.
Absolutely agree.
There needs to be some kind of like course on how to do this. I think just in the wider population. Why is this so hard? A lot of the conflicts I see even within our society, it's just, if you look at social media, it's like, it's okay that we don't have the same position or views.
Right. I don't have to, you know what, you have your view, you have your view, I have my view.
Yeah.
I'm not going to take on anything you say personally. Why should I? That's your view.
Or why do I have to push my point so hard with a goal of getting you to approve of what I'm saying. What's the point?
I can answer that.
Why? Because you want to win?
No, because everybody wants to feel important. And
But how does that feed into important?
we live in an age where I am insignificant. I'm on Facebook, and Facebook hears what I'm saying, but I'm not important. I'm just one in a million people. And so when you come to me on an issue, I have to realize how important I am, because I feel underappreciated. I feel like just a number in a wide pool.
But you are.
But that's bad, because most people want to feel important. Nobody in this world wants to feel I am nobody.
But importance isn't validated by social media.
But it's not just social media, it's any issue. Like I'm at work and I have an issue on example. And I say, you know, Mom, I think that this is the way that we should go. She might have a different view, but because she's not read up on it, she might take a very passionate view on it, because she doesn't want to feel unimportant. She doesn't want to feel uninformed. You know, so it's about being important. And we live in a society where nobody's important, and every opportunity we have to be important, we abuse it.
Well, I think everybody's important, but I think everybody doesn't have to be right. And it concerns me sometimes that people get so stuck wanting to almost force an opinion or point of view. It's okay if you believe the sky is green. And I can spend my entire life trying to tell you it's blue. And maybe you're just colorblind. And I can't fix that. But why will I obsess in spending all this time trying to tell you, Jenny, it's blue, come see blue, this is what blue looks like.
But people get really caught up with that. And the thing is okay, you believe the sky is green, you know what? That's your opinion, that's how you feel. I understand. For me, it's blue. Now, can we agree to disagree? Let's end the argument. You have your opinion, I have my opinion. Let's still be friends.
I don't recommend them for treatment if they say it's green. I don't send them to BCVI.
No, that's their opinion. Okay. The thing is, that's my own thoughts, my opinions, my feelings, they're mine. I own them, right? You have yours. Leave me with mine.
Yeah. So when we agree to disagree, it means that there will be some things that we just will never agree on.
Never agree on. So we agree to disagree. And it really and truly exonerates both. So you give the argument up. If you and Mom are having an argument about how we parent children, you give it up.
What does it mean? Don't take something personal that isn't personal.
Well, if I believe the sky is green, right? And you believe the sky is blue. Okay. Why are you taking it personally that I believe it's green? Why are you fighting me about this? And then you start calling me names. You're taking it personally because you're getting angry that I believe the sky is green. Okay. Right?
And in a realistic argument, it could be in a marriage, how traditional of a wife you'll be, whether you'll be a parent that hits or anything. Sometimes you're just not going to change Mom's perspective on it.
Right. Mom believes in spanking. I don't.
Or that you should be a stay-at-home mom.
Exactly. So we agree to disagree. Mom has her opinion, I have mine. We don't have to fight about it.
Okay. I know we're out of time, but can you just summarize for us finally? What is the most important thing in improving and dealing with a difficult relationship with our mothers? What's the most important thing? If you didn't see any other slides, or one principle, what is the one thing that you leave us with?
What is the most important thing? Is it the relationship, or is it having this conflict? If we love our parents, we are going to do whatever it takes to keep the relationship going in a loving, comforting, nurturing, caring way on both sides.
Awesome. All right. We're out of time. That is the truth. And you had a bunch of other things that were important. No kitchen sinking. Don't bring in other issues. Set boundaries. And of course, really like the agree to disagree, because that really is the way out of a conflict sometimes. But thank you so much for coming in. We know it's not something people think about close to Mother's Day, especially if we have a good relationship with our mothers.
But if we don't, it's important that you go in and clear, especially for Mother's Day. What a beautiful opportunity to go in and get things right with your mother.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jenny. We appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and take a break. And when we come back, we'll wrap up the show, so stay tuned.
I want to appeal to, make those little slips. It happens. You have to have a plan to manage your problems effectively. How are you going to do it? Fall off the horse? Jump right back on.